I already reviewed the counterpart, or actually the smaller part of the Storm 10, where these devices are overall nice quality, so is it something you should consider. They have a very small overall form factor. Where the previous model was super small, this one is slightly bigger and makes it more comfortable, I think actually for just daily usage. If you don't need a lot of fancy stuff, this can be very interesting. So the first noticeable difference compared with other laptops I've reviewed in the past, that the overall quality of the keyboard. I must say that is a really satisfying overall quality click. Another option that I actually utilize with this laptop model is that having the very nice interesting hinges, so we can rotate the laptop in different positions. So the smaller counterpart also had a similar technology, but I've seen it with different brands too. And also I must say that the overall hinges are very nice, with a nice perfect overall resistance if you're going to be flipping the screen. I mean, if you're going to be flipping the screen, you can actually just feel the nice overall resistance and it stay perfectly in the right position. However, you can also flip it like that and just use it for, let's say, watching some videos. And I think this is one of those features I'm going to be liking a lot. And for gaming, we can do some really cool things because I also have a touchscreen. But due to the form factor, we don't have a numpad and we do miss a little bit of an overall configuration with different kind of normal keyboards. But of course, that's one of the concessions we're going to be needing to have if you have a super small form factor. But the overall touchpad is very nice. I must say it was very responsive, but also utilize a micro switch underneath mouse. And I think the overall utilization of this is quite cool. And I like it. The bottom row has the F keys, but also utilizes also the other, let's say, functions like brightness and everything else. But due of the super slim format, we're going to be having no normal USB-A connections. So let's turn this thing on over here because we're also having the on and off switch. And next up we're going to be having two USB-C ports. So it's going to be a convenient thing if you're going to be having yourself an adapter. At the left side we're going to be having the outtake. You can actually see some copper over there for the cooling, and we do have utilizing a headphone jack. So for the people who love to use headphones, this is going to be a super convenient thing. But let's try to get this freaking power supply out of this box. There we go. There we have it. So I was really wondering what kind of voltage we're running now. So we're going to be actually just having a 12 volt 3 amp power supply, nothing really fancy, and this has an USB-C connection. Okay, that's it. But let's do a little bit of a nerdy time. So we're going to be running the Intel Core, so the Elder Lake that is called the code name. So this thing only has a TDP of 6 watts, so it's kind of insane. However, we're running actually the N150. So we have been trying the 100 a lot of different, I say, manufacturer mini PC and laptops. But I'm really curious how far we can push it when it comes to the N150. Maybe we do have enough juice to get a little bit better performance overall with different, let's say, devices or pieces of software. So let's trash the CPU. Let's see how hot this thing is getting. I did plug it into the wall socket to see what's going on. Cooling wise, it's going to be interesting because these things can become quite hot sometimes, particularly when it comes to the super small model. You can actually see over here. This thing is hitting 63 Celsius and it's not getting any hotter. So in overall, I must say that it's not bad at all. So one of the cool things I love the tablet devices, you can just flip it and just play these old school games. I think this is just a fun thing to do. Of course, this is the old school Bejeweled, and they're actually made for low resolution monitors. So in this case, we're not going to be utilizing the monitor itself or its full potential, because when you're going to be looking at different games, some of the games look absolutely amazing on this. And audio wise, this is absolutely sounding really great. A game that never bores me is of course the Fruit Ninja. So I must say, let's see how responsive this thing is. We're going to just easily swiping over the screen, not going to be putting too much force on it. And I must say that I'm quite surprised how well this actually works. You can see that, ooh, we need to put a little bit of force on it. There we go. But so far it's quite responsive when it comes to the overall, let's say, fun factor. But when it comes to the touchscreen, you do need to put a little bit force on it actually to get something going on. But when it comes to the colors and just the resolution of the display, this looks absolutely amazing. And I think that's one of the cool features you see with these tiny tablets, or at least laptop tablet thingies. Particularly when I'm going to be playing games that are colorful and really detailed. I must say this is really important. I'm going to have a good display, but also the sharpness is important. With the simple reason, if you don't have this, it's going to be very, let's say, difficult and very tiring for your eyes to actually look at it, because the screen is quite tiny. No, I don't want to delete the freaking slot, I want to play the game. The quality of the display is always quite difficult, in my opinion, to capture, but this gives you a great idea. And again, this is another, let's say, game that has amazing music. And I can tell you, it doesn't really disappoint here. Another thing is like how sensitive, but how accurate actually it is. Because everything is so freaking tiny now. So you need to get like a very good, let's say, overall touch. It is actually multi-touch, of course, but the thing is, I just wanted to see how it actually plays. I've been putting it on the fantastic graphics. So I do notice with the N150 we do have like quite a long loading times. But so far I don't notice any problems whatsoever. And I've been testing all kinds of different mini devices, or at least like tablets and, let's say, laptop. I must say that where some of the tablets I've reviewed had actually like 2K displays, that was even better when it comes to, let's say, playing games, and everything was even more detailed. But this doesn't really disappoint whatsoever. So full HD with just every setting set to high. Yeah, we can actually play some Cuphead and many different games. But let's get into it. Let's have some fun. So far so good, don't have any frame dips. You can actually see that it is hitting 87% of the GPU. So we still have a little bit of wiggle room left when it comes to the overall performance. So far so good, but let's move to something else. Let's see how the other games are running. So far I actually started to just play a couple of these indie games, and so far I don't notice any problems. Cuphead was quite demanding when it comes to the overall performance, where we're hitting like 80 plus, let's say, percentage used for the GPU. But you can actually see that when it comes to Hundown and these kinds of games, we don't have any problems whatsoever. It works quite well actually. There's no way to actually increase, let's say, any, let's say, resolution or craziness. So in that case, we cannot push this thing further. But I do need to check out what's going on when it comes to the overall, let's say, display, because when it comes to most games are actually to the 1080p, and I think this is a general problem, because most of the games will not get into the, let's say, 1280 that the screen actually needs. So we do have like two black bars.